For April the 14th, 2023, we talk about Dredge, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, After the Fall, and much more. Welcome to level 453. My name is Kole Rouse.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Maismith.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. I did not intend for us to miss last week. I totally thought that I was going to swing home and sleep all day on Tuesday and be fresh as a daisy for a Tuesday night. What I didn't count on was my car being stolen. Yeah. So if anybody listening, if I met you in Milwaukee, it was lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for coming out to the city of Milwaukee. I'm ashamed of you because you let the Kia boys take root there. You can hear the full version of the story on Abject Suffering 500, which we recorded right after I got done filing the police report.
You might want to check your sodium levels afterwards.
Yeah. But no, there's a gang of like 10 to 14-year-olds who go around and steal Kias and joyride them because Kias and Hyundais are incredibly easy to steal because of a corner that was cut in production. So my car was taken and then joyrode for about a mile and then abandoned. And yeah, no, my car, it was in Milwaukee for a while. I thought I was going to have to go back and drive and like pick it up, but insurance towed it back to Ohio for me. Yeah. So that was, that alleviates a lot of my concern, but what really would have helped this was for it not to happen in the first place. And
get your shit together, Milwaukee.
Yeah. Milwaukee. Kia. Yeah. Oh yes. I'm more mad at Kia here, you know, just because like, I don't know, little kids are going to be shitty no matter what. But you know, the fact that this was such a widely known thing, I don't know, they cut the corner or whatever. So yeah, I just was so wiped out from dealing with that and driving home in an unfamiliar rental that was not comfortable driving in.
They give you like a monster truck or something?
It was a Kia that Cole boosted to get home.
Hey,
bitches!
Kias are now forcibly rideshare vehicles.
You have to, Haley Joel Osment, pay it forward. Yes. Yeah.
Are you saying that you stabbed a child to get this car, Cole?
It was. That's
where people have seen pay it forward.
It was really manipulative. Yes. I made that. I brought everything full circle on this small child to get my to drive home in a Nissan Rogue, which is not a car that I particularly enjoy. Yeah, and then after a couple days of being home,
I'm sorry, I can't not say you prefer the Nissan Warrior. The Nissan Bard.
I did joke that I was pickpocketing every car that I passed on the way home. Yeah, no, but then a couple of days after, I got hit with con crud. So I've been real sick, tested negative, but all of the symptoms felt very much like COVID, very mild, but still sucky. So I've just existed in a nothing space, hovering slightly over my bed while watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So, yeah. And I'm feeling better now. My voice is back and all of that. And I'm happy to be here recording with you all.
Likewise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except for like the sick and car stolen part. I'm happy to be here, but...
Right. Those things were not necessary for this to happen. They were just concurrent.
I kind of did, like in solidarity. Do you want me to go get my car stolen?
No.
You don't know maybe that. If it hadn't happened, you might have been driving home and gotten possessed by aliens.
Maybe, possibly. Maybe those little TikTok kids saved my life. Who knows? Yeah. It was real funny going to a bar.
Find out and pay it forward too.
Pay it further. Yeah. It was funny going to that bar. I went to a bar after I filed the police report before I went back and recorded. I was like, shit, my car got stolen. And then everybody lit up around me. I was like, wait, was it the Kia boys? Oh boy, I was hit by the Kia boys. The bartender, she gave me a free drink. That was very, I tipped graciously on that. But yeah,
That's awesome.
It was a whole thing. People, the Kia boys are a scourge. I want other people to talk. David, what's going on?
Oh man, it's been so long. It's like I don't know. I've pretty much just been bobbing and weaving, as one do.
De rigueur.
Constant as the North Star.
Yep. It's gotten a little nicer, so I'm starting to come out of hibernation, trying to start getting things ready for con season. So, so I've almost got a shoulder cape done. I'm probably gonna get that done tonight or tomorrow. So that'll be a thing.
Cool,
sweet.
4 months.
You're rocking the shoulder cape and nothing else, right?
Exactly. Only certain cons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love certain con.
It's much better than uncertain con. Never know when they open the doors. Oh gosh.
I mean, uncertain con would be a good name for maybe a speculative fiction con.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also I got Steins gated.
You had your consciousness sent back in time through a cell phone?
Well, I woke up one morning and my laptop password didn't work anymore.
Okay.
And just on a lark, I decided to. This was my PC that I use for gaming. I have a Mac that I use for for work, for development. And just on a lark, I decided to use that password, and it worked. So somehow my laptop changed its password.
Oh God.
Weird.
And I would have thought it's synced, except that one's a Mac and one's a PC, so they're never gonna be interruptible.
Huh.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't know.
Instead of sleepwalking, you're doing sleep IT personal hygiene or something.
I mean, I just think clearly someone changed the timeline. And in this timeline, I gave them the same password, but I still remember the old timeline.
Oh, they probably meant well. Oh, God, Steins Gate is good. Well, hope you get that sorted out.
His life got simpler. The passwords are the same now.
Oh, true. Yeah. Ben, how about you?
Well, I also have a feeling of kind of dread that something's wrong in the world, because I saw the D&D movie and it was actually really good.
Oh yeah,
So,
that is honestly one of the best movies I've seen in years.
it's very entertaining and it's very thoughtful. A lot of the shots and the transitions and stuff like that. It's not it's not like an art house film or anything, which is fine, but it's a great action, great popcorn movie. So
it wasn't the Marvel veneer slapped on top of the steaming pile of D&D.
So
yeah.
Although strangely enough, actually walking out of the theater reminded me of walking out of the original Iron Man. Not necessarily because the movies are super similar, but because I walk out and I'm like, oh, that's how you make a movie in that genre. You actually pay writers and then treat your viewers like adults.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very funny because the original Iron Man had no writing in it. It was all improv.
Well, okay, fair enough. But you get my point.
You hire Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, you hire Robert Downey Jr. and you hire Jeff Bridges and you just let him go to town.
I think the big things I had for it is it has a ton of a ton of Easter eggs and references, is very true to D&D, but didn't feel the need to explain any of them.
Yeah.
Didn't feel pandery. Yeah.
Was it
when
the
one of the
gelatinous
characters
cube or whatever?
oh yeah, everyone hates me because I'm a tiefling, no one had to be oh, that means your ancestors were demons.
Yeah.
It's no,
yeah.
she's got freaking a tail and horns. People can figure it out.
Yeah. Nice. No, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things. We're covering it on Adaptation Decay next month.
It is
yeah.
The other thing
one
I thought
of
was
the
funny,
best things I've seen in a very long time. I really liked it.
while watching it the entire time, I was like, wow, the art style in this is as good as in Magic the Gathering. And then I was like, oh, wait, they're owned by the same company. All right.
I do like how many of the shots just arbitrarily look like basic lands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where it's just like, we're walking and, there's a giant volcano in the background. It plays no role in the plot, but it sure is there in the background.
Is it, here's a question. Is it Forgotten Realms?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then other thing I did this last week is I finished up the book Hyperion that I was reading, which is really good, but it leads directly into the sequel, which I didn't know existed. So I bought that and started the first chapter of that. So
neat.
You can never escape.
Going in on the 70s sci-fi or 80s sci-fi.
Yeah, I think it's ladies into early 90s, which I wish was one word, but
nice. Well, that's cool. And Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I went to a movie, but I did not go to the D&D movie. I went to the Mario movie.
Oh, shit. Yeah. No, those both came out at roughly the same time.
Yeah, I fully intend to get to D&D. But guys, the Mario movie is good too. So someone has definitely fucked with the timeline.
You were the first person I've heard to say it wasn't hot shit.
Really?
Wait, does hot shit mean good or bad?
Yeah.
Very bad.
No, it is fantastic. Guys, it is 90 minutes of pure joy. Jen and I bolted out of work early, surprised the kids with a showing on the first day. And everyone in the family was just like freaking having a blast start to end. I've seen people wanting to criticize. I've seen people saying like it's a thin plot or people can't get over Chris Pratt. I think the people that can't get over Chris Pratt, we're going to hate it no matter what he did. Mm-hmm. He is fine in it. He is absolutely fine in it. Like I'm not gonna try to say he was great or anything, but he did perfectly fine. And I'm gonna go out there and say I think he probably did a better job than Charles Martinet would have done.
Ooh.
So now they give Charles Martinet a handoff to him. They explain the voice being toned down in a funny way. Like they do all the right things to ameliorate any anger that people are going to feel over an A-lister taking that role. And like I said, if someone's still hung up on that, it's because they want to be hung up. And yeah, the plot is a little bit thin because the movie knows it what it wants to be. And it wants to take
for kids.
Yeah. No. Hey.
No. I'm not saying. I'm not saying. Like, I'm not saying it diminutively, but it's the studio that makes them Minions. Like it needs to be.
Wow, you're really selling this.
but just it's got like there's a certain common denominator that it's leading
Horrible
to, and it's
people.
Your heart needs to be open to a kind of gleeful joy that many people have closed themselves off to.
Yeah,
I think anyone who is not dead inside will enjoy this.
I didn't realize the Mario movie was a litmus test for like how happy you might be on the inside.
Honestly, it might be that. Like, I don't know how you can go to this movie and not come out just like grinning ear to ear. It is like. I think they understood the assignment is the best thing I can say.
My metric for this, I think, is the money they spent making this movie, would it have been better spent making a new Mario game?
What I'm going to say is I don't think that a new Mario game was ever in jeopardy because of this movie.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, like... whatever they did with Mario, if they had done the same thing as a game, would it have been more fun?
I don't think so. I'm going to go to bat for this movie. What they did, what the assignment they understood was to take all of the moments that you love from the game and give them like the big cinematic action movie treatment. And it's like, what would a Mario Kart race look like if it got the Mad Max treatment? What would Smash Bros look like if it was a giant battle scene? What would a Mario level look like if it was, people careening through an area, parkouring to chase someone? It's just so good. And there's lots of little nods. But what sells it for me is that all of the people doing it, and I think you've seen a ton of press about Jack Black and how he's owns the stage as Bowser, but I think everyone in the movie is just clearly having a blast, loving being there, and putting as much love into it as they can. Again, depending on your opinion of Chris Pratt, he might be dead on the inside too, or possibly an alien or zombie. But he's given it his all, darn it.
The most substantial criticism of it that I have seen, and this is just even devoid of discussions of how they treated the subject matter or like performances and stuff, but like at a structural level, the thing that I heard somebody say that sounded like it most likely could be a real problem with it is that it is a movie that's in fast forward. Like every scene, it just they want to get to so much that nothing is actually like stuck on long enough for it to feel like it was explored. Like it was just breathless. Next thing.
Yeah, I could see that. It is a little bit of like a kid in the candy shop.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we finally get to do like a Mario animated movie. Oh, this would be cool. That'd be cool. This, that, the other. Yeah. So I could see that. But at the same time, I think that's understanding the assignment. I don't think what anyone wants to do is dig into the deep internal angsty motivations of Mario.
Now that's a Mario movie I want to see.
I was going to say, that's exactly what I want.
You want the Pedro Pascal Mario reboot that was on SNL.
Yeah.
Cold open to him looking at a garbage can filled with used mushrooms. Mamma mia.
Yeah. They actually... I really like the way they treated the video gaminess of it all. They were completely unashamed and didn't even try to make it diegetic. It's just like, hey, there's power-ups in this world, and if you get hit, you lose them. And then that's all they say about it. There's power-ups throughout. Or the Mario Kart scene literally has them designing their karts by moving the wheels of a select screen up and down like you do in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
So does anyone go off the track in order to drop down, farther ahead on the track? Because that is the sole thing I want from the Mario Kart sequence.
Oh no, you get that for sure. You get lots of bananas and shells and all sorts of good stuff. So yeah, I am very excited because I thought the Mario movie was amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing the D&D movie. It feels like we are in a renaissance where they finally pried these IPs out of the hands of soulless execs who didn't understand the material and put them into the hands of soulless execs who do understand the material. And that makes for better movies.
I haven't seen the Mario movie. I'm going to for Adaptation Decay the month after next. But what I do want, I know I want this even without having seen it, is Luigi's Mansion with Charlie Day's Luigi.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and everyone's talking about, there's going to be a Mario extended universe or a Nintendo extended universe. And I don't want them to connect everything together, but I absolutely think they'll be doing more.
I just want
Mario.
Charlie Day to be in more stuff. So
the ones I would pitch, I would love to see a Zelda movie that just leaned totally in on the weird parts of Zelda, like the Majora's Mask, like everything's kind of Uncanny Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see like a serious like live action horror thriller Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see a Earthbound that started out, like super peppy, like the power of friendship, and just took a hard turn to cosmic horror.
Nice.
Just like the game does. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Those would be my pitches for Nintendo movies.
Yeah. Well, I do recognize that we have brought talking about video games into the banter, so we might as well.
That's pretty much our job. It's your job to keep us from doing that.
Yeah, no, I understand. It reflects worse on me.
No, it's his job to shake his head ruefully while we do it.
At least we didn't talk about board games, huh?
True. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. No. No.
Well, I was just going to say save it for the grind, because we're going to do a regular kind of show with the grind, the multiplayer, and the end boss. And why don't we get started with the grind? The grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the last period of time or so. Does anybody have anything new?
I have 2 new things.
Okay.
So first off, is a game that is ironically, I think, earlier this year when we had a multiplayer prompt that was, if you could make any game, what would you make, or something like that. I basically said like a dark fantasy or like Lovecraftian horror fishing game.
Oh, you've been playing Dredge.
And yes, I've been playing a whole lot of Dredge, which is basically just what I said, a Lovecraftian horror fishing game. You are a fisherman in this tiny archipelago that did something it shouldn't have done, as souls peoples are, want to do. Mm-hmm. And now at night, a fog rolls in, and, if you go out in it, you start losing your mind.
Hmm.
And so you have to go around, do some fishing to raise money, dredge up some sort of, ancient artifacts for a old man who is definitely not an evil cultist. And, just, your standard fishing game stuff. I don't know why people think this is so weird.
I love that there is a boat upgrading loop in this. Mm-hmm. And, obviously expanding your capabilities so you can go to different places and catch more stuff. I have not seen an awful lot of detail, primarily because I know I'm going to play this, and I, just don't usually seek out a lot of information about something I know I'm going to play. What is the actual, what's the fishing interface like? Is it like a golf meter kind of deal?
Yeah, kind of.
How does that play out?
So basically, there's... I don't know how many, but there's a number of mini games, and they're all kind of like an active reload type thing from Gears of War, where it's, like a meter goes across and, you have to hit the button when it's on the point, on the lit place. Mm-hmm. But, they vary. There's... some where it's like there's 2 meters, and when you successfully hit it on one, then it skips over to the other and starts going back and forth on that. So you're kind of ping-ponging. There's some where there's like multiple dots going at the same time at different speeds. So it's basically all these variants on that sort of thing.
Timing minigames.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty simple. Like, it's not really, it's not really that is the core difficulty. And actually, all that really does is makes you reel in the fish faster.
Which probably gives less time for it to degrade your equipment.
So
dangles.
There is a little bit of that, but it's more a thing of the day-night cycle.
Okay.
So certain fish only come out at day or at night. And then also, like I said, like if you're out at night, you're slowly losing sanity.
Okay.
Is it as simple as you just have a sanity meter, or?
Not exactly. You have a sanity. You do have a sanity meter, but it's very, very broad strokes. There's basically like a eye up on your compass, and the more open it is, the worse your sanity is.
The more awakened you are to reality.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's not, it's not something where it's very kind of broad brush strokes. So, if you get to the higher you get in the sanity, the more you'll start basically hallucinating like various obstacles. So there'll be things like you'll be sailing and all of a sudden like a rock will appear out of the mist in front of you, and so you'll have to like swerve to miss it, or a like ghost ship might appear and try to ram you, things like that.
That sounds awesome, actually.
But it's never something where, those do damage to your ship, and if you take enough damage, you'll sink. But it's, in terms of sanity itself, it's never something where, like, you have to heal it or you'll lose or anything like that.
Okay. Does it, like, reset easily enough, like, if you go to sleep, or...?
Yeah. Basically, you just go to sleep and some time passes. Also, the hallucinations are much less likely to happen during the day. So, even if you're at high sanity at the end of the night, you can pretty much, you've got some wiggle room for, kind of getting some stuff during the day and then going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The other, though, really interesting mechanic is that, like you said, you mentioned the upgrade loop. That all involves, getting various equipment that is basically you have your engines, which, make the ship faster, lights, which let you see things at night, and then fishing gear. And the fishing gear, the more of it and the better you have, the quicker you fish, which again plays into the day-night cycle. And then also allows you to fish in different biomes. So, like,
right,
if you want to fish in, like, volcanic areas, you have to have heat-resistant, fishing line, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, these all take up inventory space.
So you have to be kitted out for the particular expedition you want to take.
Right. And, only certain, squares in your inventory uses like the Diablo style inventory. Only certain squares can carry certain types of gear.
Mm-hmm.
And both the gear and the different species of fish have a wide range of different shapes. So it's very much like inventory. Tetris is a big part of the game.
Okay.
So you have things where, like, you can, just fill your hold up with a ton of very small, very low value fish that are just, say, like a 1x2 squares of inventory. On the other hand, something that's, sells for a lot, like, say, like a hammerhead shark, might be sort of like an eye shape. So it's really hard to, fit many of them into your inventory. So yeah, so that's kind of the other big mechanic. And then a lot of it is just kind of, the, I guess, adventure game or walking simulator, except sailing simulator, of just, kind of going around and, doing all the things to, figure out why everything's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
So with the inventory system, I'm guessing that kind of keeps the lower quality fish or the lower payout fish relevant, because you can always use space filler.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. There's also things where you'll get quests to bring people certain fish. Some of the hallucinations cause you to lose things out of your inventory. So there can be value in, the more fish you have in the inventory, the less likely it is to randomly make you lose the one you care about.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, huh.
I mean, just all sorts of stuff like that. And it does, in my opinion, a good job. I don't know what the time to beat on this is, but, it's a fairly short game.
Yeah.
And it does a good job, by the end, money really doesn't matter anymore. And, you can afford all the things you want to unlock and that sort of thing. But it's kind of by that point, the game's kind of has reached its arc where it's more about the story than it is about the fishing.
Yeah.
That's good that it gets out of its own way.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
the art style
again,
looks really cool.
Yeah. It's this is kind of a minor spoiler, but all of the fish species, and there's a bunch of them. There's I think 5 regions, and they all have, I don't know, 5 to 8 fish. But then each of the fish has at least one and sometimes multiple kind of aberration fish, which are kind of these, Lovecraftian horror variants of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be things where it's I know there's one that's like a squid with just this giant eye, and then the aberration, the eye is actually an egg sac, so it's just this kind of swimming egg sac.
ooh.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just really, really kind of neat designs there.
Nice.
So yeah,
No,
I highly recommend it.
I'm happy to hear that it lands.
How long did it take for you to beat it?
So I haven't quite beat it. I need to decide. I'm to the the climax, and I need to decide how I'm going to play things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm right at the end, and I don't know because I don't know if it has a how long you've been playing type thing. But I would say 10 to 15 hours.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is normal game length, I would say.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe not. Apparently, I've been playing it, according to Steam, 21.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
That's the mark of a good game.
Yeah, hours disappeared. Yeah, How Long to Beat puts it at 11 and a half for main and extra. So, I mean, and obviously that'll vary depending on how into just kind of messing around with it you're going to be. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, I'm doing things, so, I'm actively trying to catch everything. Oh, actually, I will say I have one complaint with it. You will find at various points people in hooded robes that send you on a fetch quest for fish.
They seem nice.
Those are the only quests in the game that have a timer on them, and they never tell you that.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So
do they not even give you a timer?
Huh?
Do they not even give you a timer or something?
No, they
or is
don't
it
tell
hidden?
you that a timer. You just come back and they're like, oh, yep, nope, quest failed. So I actually was to the 3rd area out of 5, and that happened and decided to just restart. And just, the 2nd time through, I just kind of, didn't read the exposition, just, critical pathed it. But still, that's probably some of why my play time's so high.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those ones, it comes from, starts from, the timer starts from the point where you talk to them. So I would generally recommend, at the very least, have completed the area they're in and the next area before you start the quest.
Okay.
So, but yeah, other than that, highly recommend.
Cool. Dredge.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
So the other thing I've got is inspired by Dennis. I picked up Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Yay!
Side note, I really enjoy the fact that no one in the community can make up their mind whether it's Tiny Tina Wonderland, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Wonderlands plural. Just everyone calls the game wherever they feel like.
Language is about communication.
Exactly. So I initially tried the Spore Warden, which is kind of their ranger class. Really liked it, but once I got several quests in, found out that their main ability is just super scatological. It's just, fart noises constantly. And that's not really my jam.
Right.
So re-rolled as a spell slinger, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm. Where
which is basically, focuses on the the spells, which are this game's equivalent of grenades. And so, it also has the ability to polymorph enemies into sheep, a la World of Warcraft.
Nice.
However, this time around, when you shoot this sheep, you then start raining asteroids and stuff down upon them. So, it's a little bit more violent version of that.
Do you have a plan for how you're going to multi-class?
I'm kind of leaning towards the I forget what they call it, the necromancer, because I really like regeneration effects in games and lifesteal.
Yeah.
However, my only concern with that is that the particle effects for the dark magic is the element that in this game gives lifesteal, is just super covers the screen and you can't see what you're doing.
Sounds like a next gen game.
Yeah, so I don't know do their actual abilities have that problem, or is it just some of the guns?
It depends on the one you have turned on. So the main starter Graveborn power is just an AoE explosion, and that doesn't, it's going to take up all your screen for half a second, and then it's not going to get out of your way. I have not used their other ability, which is like a berserker mode, where your health is constantly going down and kills boost it back up. And I don't know what effects that has on it, but yeah, in general, this game is particle effects simulator.
Sure. Yeah, so I don't know yet. All of them actually seem pretty cool. I've debated rolling a third class just to try out one of the melee focus classes to see what that plays like.
Mm-hmm.
The Stabomancer seems kind of cool.
Yeah, I really wanted to know, just so I could tell you the portmanteau that makes up that multi-class. So Spellslinger plus Graveborn is the dead shot. But
I don't care for that.
The Stabomancer plus Graveborn, let's see if I can find it here. I'll tell you when I find it. Keep going.
Sure. Well, in the realm of fun names, I love the fact that the second ability for the Spellslinger is basically, instead of actually having a second ability, you just equip a second spell, and they call that Ambihextrious, which I very much appreciate.
Kole said it last time we talked about it, but this entire game is written by dads for dads.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing I was surprised about, is this is the
no dads on the staff. It's ridiculous. Sorry.
This is the first Borderlands game I've played that I haven't despised the writing.
Yay!
And my theory is it's a combination of two factors. One, not being in the kind of post-apocalyptic, ultra-violence Borderlands world, they don't seem to feel near the need to make everything as edgelordy.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I think Tina's speaking style is very unique, and but I think having everything she says be fantasy themed provides enough distance to make it more endearing rather than grating.
it was more whimsy than belonged in the base Borderlands, but it fits in well in this version.
Exactly. I love the kind of combination of a lot of her stuff being kind of the Lisa Frank approach to to fantasy, but also mashed up with like gratuitous violence and explosives.
Yep.
So the ruler of the realm you are fighting through is a unicorn, or I guess technically a bicorn because it has 2 horns. That is Queen Butt Stallion.
Which is a direct reference to a running gag in Borderlands 2.
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed a couple of references to the various games. I've only played 1 and 2. I'm assuming there's more to the other games in the series, but yeah,
I've completely forgotten about 3, so maybe.
Yeah, well, I love your commentary characters. Was it Valentine and what's the robot's name?
Fret.
Yes. Who are basically they kind of are the audience surrogate for a like role-playing oriented, like into shipping type of fan versus a just like min-max or munchkin type of fan. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It seems like, I don't know if this is something that happened in 3 or one of the others, but it seems like they've better hit their stride in terms of routinely giving you guns that are actually fun to use.
So what do you think about the crossbows? So most guns in the game are either shooting some kind of magic or shooting crossbows, which actually have a little bit more of a travel time and arc than a straight up bullet. And there are guns that shoot straight up bullets, but I loathe anything that's got crossbow bolts. I don't know why. Yeah, I can't seem to get my head around it. To have so many games or so many guns be in that crossbow format is a little bit hard.
Yeah, hard to say. I tend to play fairly close range, so I probably don't notice the travel time.
Okay, that could make sense. Yeah, I've found that sniping is relatively useless.
Okay. What I found that I like for that is there's a variant of them that's basically buzzsaws. And those will, if you miss, they'll ricochet back at the enemy. So, if I was going for one of those classes for a sniper, I'd probably go with like the buzzsaw variant and just pepper the area.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I haven't tried a buzzsaw gun yet.
Oh yeah. The what is it? Stoker makes those. Oh, that is one of the other fun things is all of the brands, the gun manufacturers from the previous games are in this game, but have fantasy themed names. So the one that comes to mind is one of the manufacturers from the previous game is Pangolin. And so now it's Pan Goblin.
Okay.
Every part of this game is just a dumb,
it's just puns
all the way down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
all the way. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like it's one of these games. It's very moment to moment. Kind of what makes it so charming. So it's hard to think of. What are the things to kind of call out. All of the enemies have very bizarre banter banter that they yell at you as you're fighting.
Okay.
So like I love sometimes when you when you kill a skeleton, and you yell, "I died the way I lived by being dead."
Yeah.
Just dumb stuff like that. So,
from the way you guys talk about it, it sounds like this game's kind of recaptured the same magic that Borderlands 2 had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely the best entry I've interacted with since Borderlands 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, actually, Dennis, what's your secondary class?
So I went Graveborn as my primary and the Spore Warden as my secondary.
Okay, so full-on summoner.
Mm-hmm. The Morticulturist.
That's actually pretty good.
They have a skill that I get a damage buff for every companion I have. Mm-hmm. So now I have 2 companions, and then my spell, I always keep a Hydra spell, which allows me to have up to 3 more companions. So sure. I'm basically at double damage for the majority of the time my companions are up.
Nice.
Which then procs all my kill skills because I'm chewing through enemies so fast, which then buff my companions, which then it's a virtuous cycle.
Gives new meaning to vicious cycle. I really enjoyed the character creation. I like the fact the quote unquote like male and female bodies are simply labeled as this one and that one.
That's pretty good.
And then I also like I hate sliders in things because I don't know, I don't make me choose what I want to express with this design, not like fine tuning, like how long the nose is. And I like all of the various options actually have names and stuff like that. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of find what you're looking for.
Do they do like best of both worlds, or they have sliders but then presets that you can pick, or do they only?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get into sliders. The name of my character's haircut, who's the emo, Graveborn guy, the haircut is called Edgy Backstory.
Yeah, all of the names, like I said, they're descriptive, but all very, very very strange.
I really want Edgy Backstory to be in D&D canon now.
Yeah.
I for like makeup, my character has freckles, and that option is just called Weird Freckles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very well done, very very expressive. I'm kind of playing a sort of gothy cat girl type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But edgy backstory though. That is perfect.
It's appropriate. I can picture it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also I think Paladin Mike, best name for a character.
It's kind of like those movies that I like by Benson and Moorhead. Just the shared universe that they have there. There's always a reference to a character named Shitty Carl, which is
the opposite of Paladin Mike.
yeah, Paladin Mike and versus Shitty Carl. Yeah, you get to meet Shitty Carl in the Endless.
Lordy.
Oh gosh. Anything else about Tiny Tina's Wonderlands?
Nope. I'm now that I've actually figured out what character I'm playing, I'm definitely looking forward to jump into some co-op. So we'll have to get that going.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Dennis, you might need to pare this down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot that I've been playing.
No, just in terms of overall titles and stuff. Just letting you know.
I've been doing my work these past 2 weeks. The good news is one of them isn't actually a game I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about trying to play the game.
Okay.
But we'll get there. So,
but really, isn't that talking about the game?
I guess so. I do want to talk about Mighty Doom for sure. Because I had no idea this game existed, and it is freaking amazing. It's an iPhone game. It's free. It is the official Doom license, and it is top-down chibi character Doom. And I love it. It is a one-stick shooter, I guess you would call it. Like, you move your character around, and it automatically targets whoever's closest to shoot them. So no twitch skills necessary. The gameplay is twofold. One is dodging the bullet hell of everyone else firing at you, and then two is charging in when you stagger an enemy. And just like in the game, if you stagger an enemy and then go melee kill him, it gives you a big shower of health and other resources. And that just makes for a really fun gameplay loop that translates the feel of Doom into a completely different genre really well. So, you drop into a level, you're kind of maneuvering around all the crates, managing line of sight, doing all the Doom things. It's just this like top-down view and cutesy little characters. And while the characters are cutesy, the gore is full on Doom, and hilarity ensues. Like, what are the I think they call him Pinky, is the like giant dinosaur type thing that charges you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the Doom characters have always been designed with a wink and a smile. But to have one of those like overtly designed, like cute plushy style, and yet you rip out its tusks and stab it in the eye with them. It's pretty great, pretty entertaining. And that makes for a lot of fun. There's your standard free-to-play game bullshit in there. Like there's upgradable equipment and an energy system. I play it fairly regularly, and I've never gotten the energy system low. So it's pretty forgiving, at least right now. But you can jump in, just enjoy this for what it is, without feeling pressured by all of the free-to-play extras. Really fun.
This is a really good concept for adapting Doom to a mobile.
They did it right.
Yeah, just because, like, okay, don't do like a first-person shooter with a virtual stick. That sucks. Like, picking your weapon and prioritizing your targets is a pretty important part of playing like a usual Doom level. Especially in 2016, which is nothing but arena fight kind of stuff. But like focusing just on kind of evasion and crowd control kind of stuff. Like, okay, I am moving in this space and being evasive while trying to maximize, basically damage out versus damage in. Like all of that seems to like take the salient parts of Doom and incorporate it.
It translates surprisingly well.
Even art style aside, like it doesn't have to be like super chibi. Although the kind of the chunky look does make things easier to discern from above. So, but yeah, like it could just be shapes and it would still function just right.
Geometry Doom.
Yeah, but exactly, like give you that.
So with this being chibi Doom, I do have to ask: does Isabel show up?
I have not seen her yet.
Yeah,
I'm
surprised I hadn't heard about this. It came out in 2021.
I know. I couldn't believe I missed it either. So yeah, excellent translation of the game, and lots of fun. Okay, so yeah, then I tried. I don't know. I was feeling like a deep strategy game, and I was like, you know what? It's been on my radar forever. I'm going to get into Crusader Kings 3.
Oh,
I'm going to jump.
How many of your children have you murdered?
None yet, because I never got out of the tutorial.
The tutorial is very long.
Oh my god! Yeah. I sat down. I had the night to play, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to do this." I know it takes some to get into. I spent a solid session just clicking through text boxes, and so I exited out. Thankfully, it saves your progress. Came back to it later and spent a second session just clicking through fucking text boxes. And I think at one point I got to like, I got to propose a marriage, but it's like, since we've got everything on pause, nothing's going to happen. We're just showing you how to do it. And so I spent a second full play session trying to get to play this game and just reading. And then I sat down for my third and I got a little bit in, and then it's like, all right, now we're going to start talking about war. And there's a ton to it. We're just going to brush the surface. More text boxes. And I was like, all right, I don't think this is happening. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could do this. So I got out of Crusader Kings 3 and looked for another strategy game instead. And I found Jurassic World Evolution.
Oh,
second one. So Zoo Tycoon with dinosaurs. And that has been a good time. I've been surprised by how much Zoo Tycoon this is, and how little actual disaster I've had to deal with.
I was gonna say, because that seems like the defining feature, which is things can and will go wrong. Yeah,
and it's kind of built in. So dinosaurs can come with like negative traits like aggression and stuff like that. And that can cause them to attack vehicles, etc. But at least so far, when they've attacked vehicles, you have like a response team helicopter that can shoot tranquilizers at them and stuff like that. And as long as that can be in the area, you're okay. And then there's also, because apparently they're incapable of building these parks somewhere temperate, there are periodic storms. And you'll have like a hurricane or a tornado come through or something like that. And you have to have these shelters built. And, you know, when you see the storm is coming, you open the shelters and all your park guests run for the shelters. And hopefully they all get there in time. The storms will damage your buildings, potentially rip open fences and all that. But again, thankfully, I haven't had anyone get eaten just yet. I have had close calls though.
So can you like purposely create death parks or?
Yeah, I guess you could. Just like in Roller Coaster Tycoon, you could have the drowning pool or the suicide roller coasters,
or a battle royale between your dinosaurs for the entertainment of your guests.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely have the dinosaurs fight each other, and they do, even within their own species. I'm wondering if guests would be entertained or horrified. I might have to go find out.
Seems like they would sort themselves out pretty quick.
Yeah. They, at least the ones that I've had fight each other, they break it off before anyone gets seriously injured.
Yeah.
Just some good-natured injuring.
Do they set up trade-offs to where, you know, high revenue, you know, like faster dinosaur acquisition rate are set up against safety? Like, is it ever, you know, something that, are you making strategic, let's say, oversights in safety in order to progress down one particular way? Like, are they trying to goad you into making things dangerous, or is the danger just an ever-present condition that is always being marched toward?
No, 100%. Like that tension is there. There's different kinds of guests that come to your park, like different profiles. One's like adventure oriented, the other's nature oriented, etc. And particularly for the adventure oriented guests, like, yeah, getting as close to as dangerous dinosaurs. I think that there's like an infamy rating for dinosaurs. And so it's like, you want the most infamous dinosaurs, the most dangerous ones, and you want the park tours that go into their cages and all this stuff. Like, they want you to push the limit. The other way that they kind of goad you into making poor choices is the scientist system. So you don't hire separate groundskeepers or what have you. What you hire is this team of scientists. And the really funny thing is every scientist has a rating for logistics, genetics, and welfare. Yeah. And those things have their purposes for breeding and releasing dinosaurs. But also, like, if you want to research like a new ride, a zip line for your park, you stick one of your top scientists that has good logistics on it. And they get worn out and frustrated over time. And there's this constant tension of your scientists will start getting disgruntled. And if you have too many scientists disgruntled for too long, they will start sabotaging the park. They'll start like siphoning off money, or oops, this dinosaur got really aggressive, or any one of a number of things. I left this gate open.
I slipped an embryo out to to a competing firm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally get it, because here comes this top-rated scientist in the nation, all hot to work on this revolutionary rebirth of an extinct species, and I have them designing zip lines for my fat ass part guests. I get it. But
slapping
then
Heisenberg on the tilt-a-whirl. Yeah.
I'm still surprised that the scientist's reaction to that is like, let a couple of them get murdered, like they kind of deserve it.
Wait, you've never let some people get murdered at any of your jobs?
Not that I know of. No, of course not.
Not intentionally.
Because we're being recorded, of course not. But yeah, so there is that tension with the scientists. So every task has like a minimum rating for those categories for those three things. But the task happens faster if you put overstaff it. Which makes total sense, but that also means that you're burning out more scientists, because no matter how many scientists are on it, they're all going to take the same amount of stress, which isn't completely diegetic, but what it means is you're incentivized to crank these people up to top stress as fast as possible.
Yeah, to ride them, to basically to redline them.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
there is like
sounds like normal running a business.
Yeah,
just burn out your employees and replace them
with higher stakes.
The mundanity of evil or whatever. So that I haven't had anyone so disgruntled that they sabotaged yet. But I have had to stop development on my part because my entire team was having a nervous breakdown. And so, that's happened.
Pizza party. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Basically. The closest I've come to having someone eaten is a misunderstanding in the UI. There is a button to open the shelters, and there's a button to close the shelters, those emergency shelters. Mm-hmm. So I had my first storm coming in, and so I opened the shelters so everyone can get in. And right as it's starting to hit, a dinosaur gets out of their enclosure. And I'm like, oh crap, this is getting bad. Okay, I think everyone's in the shelters. I'm going to close them now.
Uh-oh.
The close the shelters button does not mean that it closes the doors on the shelters with everyone inside. Close the shelters means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
It's a flammable, inflammable situation. Okay.
Yeah. And so I basically dumped a smorgasbord of people out in front of this velociraptor.
Okay.
And he got about 2 steps from eating one of them before my tranquilizer chopper, thankfully, got a good shot in and tranquilized it. So, not eaten is apparently fine. They can be traumatized. They can come within an inch of their life. As long as they're not eaten, you don't incur lawyer fees. Which, by the way, as you have safety incidents, that's how it shows up as a penalty, is you start having to pay lawyer fees. Which I appreciate.
Nice.
So there's not a lot of escapism in this dinosaur game, it seems like.
Oh, no. I mean, there's plenty of dinosaurs escapism.
Oh, man. So I think that's good for this week. I've got lots more, but stuff that I have not dug into as deeply. And I will save my tales from DMZ because there's going to be a new season out the next time I talk about it. So that will be the right time to talk about that. Yeah.
Nice.
Needless to say, or suffice to say, DMZ is in a really good place, and
nice
has a lot of cool stuff coming.
Very cool.
Hello, I'm Dennis Furia. You might remember me from such takes as DMZ feels like it's in a really healthy place now, and I'm excited for Season 3. Unfortunately, less than a day after we recorded this episode, Activision added pay-to-win skins to the DMZ store. So please disregard all former opinions on DMZ and brace yourself for me ranting about those pay-to-win skins next week. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program.
Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I got 3 this week. I'll just go through them. I finished up Horizon Zero Dawn, I think a day or 2 ago even. So I finally got through that. I think pretty much across the board I played within hour sittings of the game, or maybe even less than that. But yeah, it was fun. It was pretty consistent all the way through, though.
When you say Horizon Zero Dawn, do you mean the Call of the Mountain VR?
Yes, the VR.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you beat that before. Yeah.
No. No.
Have you played Forbidden West?
I have not. I played the first one.
That's
good.
interesting, though. I wonder. I'm curious, like what Easter eggs you're missing, or what assumptions they make. Because I think Call of the Mountain, and you would know, you've played it now, is set after that, right? After
possibly.
Forbidden West.
The story's kept kind of to a minimum. There's some characters who I did recognize who like show up and they'll like talk to you and stuff. But your character's Karja. I don't know if that holds any water for the regular story.
It's like the main bad guy group.
Okay.
It's a very big and successful tribe. It's a large and very successful tribe. Some of them are have gone kind of to the dark side, and some of them are cool. So,
I think for the most part, the story is like it's there as much as you want to pay attention to it, but you can kind of breeze by and not not follow it at all, and you're fine. It's just a climbing simulator, and you shoot bows and arrows. That's all the game is. But it's fun.
Have you gotten over the weirdness of kind of going hand over hand and moving when you're not moving?
Yeah, I only had that maybe the first session that I played. The weird feeling that your hands aren't your hands. I don't have that anymore. So, but I kind of miss that in a way. It was very.
It's inverse phantom limb.
I get. I do a lot of pointing. I'm gesturing it right now as I'm saying it, but doing a lot of pointing a finger into the fist of your hand because you can do that in game. There's parts where you jump and it kind of goes slow-mo so that you can reach out your hands to grab onto something. But slow-mo takes so long that I'll play rock, paper, scissors with myself and with my VR hands in game. But the game does have the place where it progresses is the monsters usually have much higher health and are more involved, and some of them try and do some mild strategy around how you beat them. But by and large, the combat kind of shakes out the same way over and over again. But it's fine. It's pretty fun. The climbing, you get different tools to climb, and so basically it just kind of varies a little bit of how you're climbing things. So, for example, you get pickaxes pretty early on in the game, so you can go up certain stone walls or certain ice walls, but then you kind of get other tools like a hook shot type thing or blah blah blah. So that's fine enough. That varies it up enough that it feels fresh and that it's not just a boring hand over fist climb all the way up. It's I'm not really there for the story. I'm just there for the polished experience, and and it's just kind of a fun time. I think it's a good game to offer for their flagship game because it's pretty enjoyable. I had a friend over and I had them try it out too, and they were able to jump in and have that be their first game and enjoy it and pick it up really quickly and would be able to continue on if they wanted to. So it's fun. I'm going to segue away from that and talk about the second game that I played, which is also for PSVR 2, which is a game called After the Fall, which is...
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I don't expect people to have huge name recognition on this, but it's basically a Left 4 Dead game, but in VR. So I played with my friend who's in Portland, and he's Swedish, and so he had a friend in Sweden, and so all three of us played, which was fun. But it's basically you have hip holsters. You can carry kind of up to 2 to 4 guns, and you have a 1 capacity item holder on each of your gloves that you can put things. But you're just running through an area similar to Left 4 Dead. The zombies there's not as many zombies, or it's not as intense, but they'll amble over to you and you can shoot them on the way or whatever. Kind of feels less stakes or lower stakes than Left 4 Dead. That was kind of one worry I had going into it, is that there'd be a lot of things in your face and that it would be kind of too scary or too overwhelming. It's not like that at all. It's pretty chill. The cool thing about it is there's a good progression system to it with how you can mod your guns. and then that determines like which guns you can bring in for the mission. So for example, just in my short couple playthroughs, I advanced from single pistol to double pistols to a Tommy gun, and you can have all three of those at the same time. You just have to switch between your belt, like whenever you want to switch from one to the other. So basically, if you have a huge horde coming at you, you can switch to the Tommy gun and start spraying that out. And it's pretty cool. Like, so there's a button on the controllers to eject your clips, and then you have like your ammo on your chest, and that's where you kind of like slam the butt of your gun up, to reload.
Yeah.
And so it has like a cool immersion feel of like, you're standing, guns akimbo and like shooting at things coming at you, and like, kind of like, trying to move your hand to like stymie the flow of where they're coming from, so if there's a lot coming on the right, shoot them for a little while and then switch over to the left, like that sort of thing. There's a few places they kind of end each mission with like a boss mission where there's like a larger enemy that can kind of one-shot you if it gets too close. And that's kind of like a weird other mechanic to it, is like you have to switch between shooting and trying to manage like the flow of zombies with, oh, I need to get away from here and I need to like sprint away as quickly as possible. They have like a dedicated button where if you press back, you do like a 180 camera wise to look behind you. And it does like the flick movement or whatever, where it's like the teleport movement. But yeah, anyway, it was a fun multiplayer experience. I could play that for maybe about 2 hours or so, and then I kind of needed a break. But we were actually taking breaks even in between missions to like
just like chat.
Yeah, and just connect with the outside world, not be in
touch grass, as they say.
Yeah. What's up, Dave?
Do you think this game is meant to be like, grandparent mistakenly buying the game when they meant to get Remnant from the Ashes? Because the name seems very similar and the game looks very similar.
I think with this one, probably is the Remnant game, is that a VR game at all? Or is that regular? So, like, I think the sales pitch of this one is essentially that it's for VR. You can do crossplay as well. So, like, we had 3 different VR headsets that were all playing this together on, one PC or PS4.
Yeah.
Or PS5.
This is one that I could play with you, Ben.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Okay.
Is it on PS4?
Maybe. I meant to say PS5 when I said PS4, but
maybe.
I
thought you were saying that was one of the consoles. I was gonna get excited.
It might be though.
Yeah,
I'll check.
And that is a problem with some of these, where it's like, I know PS4 to PS5 does not have a lot of crossplay because they're different platforms, so it's kind of up to game. But no, I mean, the cool part about it is it's just a fun multiplayer experience in VR, which I haven't had in many of those yet. There might be more experiences out there. I just don't know about them. But
and the movement doesn't bother you?
No, not too much. As I said, it's like, after a couple hours, like I like hard took a break and I was like, all right, I'm going to take a break and go do other things. And they kept playing for a little bit. But, it's like, it's all about, I think that's one of those things where it's like you get your VR legs under you and then it's kind of easier to go on and do other things. I think funniest joke of the night, the guy we played with, Kole, he's like, I'll do this for my American friends, and he brought 2 assault rifles with him for the assault rifle akimbo for the mission. So,
grim.
Yeah. The one of the systems I haven't talked about is like when you get downed, it's like you're frozen, and like I don't know what to liken it to. It looks like Han Solo kind of, and Empire Strikes Back, I guess, is kind of what you look like. But there's items that you can pick. They're like epidermic needles that you can go over and like save someone by just like stabbing them with it, and they'll come back to life. So it's similar to Left 4 Dead in the like revive system. It's not much different than that, but it's definitely kind of maybe harder to do it, since you kind of have to navigate all the like changing of the items and getting things out. It's funny that that's the gameplay mechanic of this. It's like is managing the controls, since you're physically doing everything as opposed to like pressing the buttons.
Yeah. And that's the case for most of the first person or even first person kind of action games is like Half-Life Alyx is necessarily like kind of a boring shooter if you played it with a keyboard and mouse. Because it's designed for you to be like in it and fumbling around and feeling the physicality of it.
It is available on PlayStation 4, so
sweet.
Let's play it together.
There's some subtext. I actually got a PlayStation Plus account for a year so I could play this multiplayer because I stupidly bought the game and then like logged on to play and I was like, oh shit, I don't have multiplayer.
Yeah. And that's how they get you.
That's the first time since the big data leak, right?
I guess so. Yeah. For me, it's like since PS3. Once they started charging for it, I didn't get it. So, yeah, I got one more to talk about, but yeah, I would be happy to play this as a side note if anyone wants to play it. So let me know. Last game I got to talk about is another multiplayer game. It is called BIGFOOT, and I wrote it as all capital letters. Yeah. I'm not sure how it's actually stylized. It used to be called something else, like Bigfoot Hunters or something like that.
Okay.
This is an asymmetric multiplayer game, similar to Friday the 13th in a sense, where there is one person who plays as Bigfoot, and then everyone else are hunters. And there's a day-night cycle. You're in the woods. The hunters are they have two objectives. If they kill Bigfoot, they win. If they otherwise collect enough bunch of evidence and complete a bunch of objectives, they can also win by doing that.
As Bigfoot, do you have to hide your spoor?
Bigfoot is just trying to kill everyone.
Oh, okay. I was just like, is there a meter just constantly filling up? Like, oh no, about the shit. I better not do it where they can find it.
That should be a feature. I think this game might still be in early access, so they should definitely add that if they haven't already. Bigfoot kind of can go around and terrorize people. There's a mechanic where he does more damage at night. So he's kind of incentivized to kind of hide and chill out during the day and then try and hunt them down at night. And then on the other side, the hunters are are incentivized to maybe like hole up in cabins at night and then maybe go out in the day and try and collect evidence. There's two different modes for this. You could play this all co-op and the Bigfoot's just an AI, or you could have a player play it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more fun with the AI because there's more of like, also because if somebody's Bigfoot and if it's on normal settings, they'll just win every time.
Right.
Way too much goddamn health, and it takes too long to find a shotgun. So yeah. But there's like this is a very jank game, so there's a lot of like fun, like emergent gameplay that comes out of it. Sorry, we're gonna ask a question, Dennis.
Can Bigfoot set traps?
Bigfoot can set traps.
What?
Bigfoot can also wield melee weapons, including street signs that he can just rip out and then smack you with. It's really jank. There's like there's outhouses as a hunter you can hide in, and there's a bunch of shit everywhere on the inside of them, so that you start coughing violently if you lock yourself inside of it, and so Bigfoot could hear you if you do that.
Somebody did a total paint job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can set traps, and there's like animals in the woods and stuff that you can kill and like dress or whatever, or undress. I don't know what the term is.
Dress, field dress. Yeah.
Okay. But you can put them in the traps and put them as lures, and they basically distract Bigfoot, where it's like, from Bigfoot's perspective, they'll show up as like this like scent ping monitor, where it could be a human, or it could be kind of like a radio that's going off, or it could be an animal, that sort of thing. And so that could be a distraction for him. And then like the other thing the hunters are trying to do outside of collecting evidence is there's guns and ammos like scattered throughout the map, and so you're kind of doing the same gameplay that in Friday the 13th, where you're going through cabins, kind of ransacking them and getting more things that you can fight Bigfoot with. Again, I think it's more fun with the AI because especially like at night, like you just hole up in a cabin, turn off all the lights of the cabin, shut the windows and stuff. And there's like this cool gameplay where it's like when he's outside and you know it, he'll start bashing in the windows and trying to reach in and hit you and stuff. And so there's this like fun, like, I don't know, it feels like that one scene in Twister where the tornado's destroying. Feels like that. I don't know. A fun like camaraderie of being in that situation. Whereas if it's like PvP, he'll just run in and kill a person and then everyone else has to like scatter and maybe take some pot shots before they leave, sort of thing. So it's maybe not as fun, or maybe we just need to get good. So I don't know.
I mean, it's also a thing where like you've gathered together, and like to have one person off in Bigfoot land or Jason land, not able to like communicate with anybody else. Like it'd be fun to be with all your buddies playing together. Yeah. So they added a mechanic to bring people back, which is odd. There's like a Stonehenge on every map. And and there's these random totems scattered throughout the map that make like a weird sound if you're near them. So if you pick up 4 of those and you bring a body to the Stonehenge location, you can revive a person.
It feels like a Band-Aid to fix the fact that Bigfoot is too powerful.
Yeah, maybe. There's this other mechanic too where it's like when he downs you, there's like, it's kind of like with Friday the 13th, where after a certain amount of time, he unlocks powers that he can do. And one of them is you can just like instant kill somebody who's downed. But before he unlocks that, there's this weird like game of chicken being played where it's like you get downed and you have 10 health left and it slowly drops one by one to 0. And so there's this chicken where you're like, I'm not going to heal myself if I have a health pack until he like leaves me alone, or maybe like give up and be interested in something else. And so you have to like wait until it gets down to 1, and then maybe a little bit after that before you heal yourself and try and run away from Bigfoot if he's like camping you. But anyway, this is a really fun jank game. It would be worth playing on stream for like a charity event or something like that. Like that's kind of the level that it's at. But yeah, there's also zip lines. I think that's one other thing.
Okay.
And gravity does not matter. You can go up or down zip lines.
That's so dumb.
But they can be destroyed by Bigfoot, and they have a light at either end which you can turn off to like try and hide them from Bigfoot. So it's kind of interesting gameplay. But yeah.
Are you setting up the zip lines, or are they at fixed points on the map?
They exist. They already exist there.
Okay.
And that's like another disadvantage about playing against a human player is like they will immediately destroy any zipline they see, whereas AI, it's like a toss-up whether they do or not. So yeah. Anyway, fun jank game that I'd been meaning to play for a while. So
nice.
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
that's all I got.
Yeah. Just to clarify, Bigfoot's not a VR. It
is not. That is a regular PC game. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. I'll do mine. I only have one just because I had been so busy traveling and then being sick. I wanted something to play on my Steam Deck that I could play in short bursts. And so I dove into Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, the remake that was put out toward the end of last year, called Reunion. So just like every ridiculous side story of Final Fantasy VII, there is a ridiculous whole bunch of subtitles. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. This is a remake of, I believe it was like a 2007 PSP game that was a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. Where you play as the person that the main character in FF7 believes that he is for the first portion of the game. In the events that kind of lead up to, lead up to where Final Fantasy VII kind of starts off. So you're playing as this just puppy dog dipshit named Zach. I'd never played this. I never had a PSP. When I got the PS Vita, this is one of the few games that is just completely unavailable on the eShop or whatever, the PSN store. Was not available. When I got a PSP, it was a PSP Go. So like I pirated it, but then just show stuff kind of took over. Never played this when it was concurrent. I wanted to dive into this because I've got affection for this world, and I, just wanted to see what this was about. The remake was a way to kind of get in. And having not played it on portable, I can kind of see how adapting this and like updating it to a modern system or to like a more modern style of play, where the difference between a portable game and a full-on console experience, like there's not that big of a gulf, as there used to be. Like the whole task, it was never going to succeed really, because this at its heart is a game that was made for the PSP with like a really diminished kind of amount of interaction or complexity that was meant to be played as like a burst series of missions, like challenge mission kind of stuff, on like commutes and things, and was never, when you brought it up to like a modern kind of, it was never going to be like a fully coherent like single player experience, just kind of playing it by yourself, not on the go, right? Even though I was playing it on the Steam Deck, so kind of on the go. Regardless, that is a bummer, because the story is pretty much hallway cutscene battle hallway cutscene battle cutscene battle hallway and the missions are not that much more kind of complex. The actual like combat, so this is not a turn-based RPG. This is like a character action game kind of deal, where you're fighting enemies. You have like your attack that you can spam, and you have some like materia with spells that you cast, and those can all level up. And you can combine materia to make new stuff. Like that's a pretty cool system. It gets pretty challenging and pretty satisfying, like because you have a block and you have a dodge, and they're both like appropriate for different situations. Like it is not as complicated as something like, let's say, like a Devil May Cry 1 would be, but like it's kind of in the same in the same area.
Is it like Batman level of complexity in combat?
Less than that.
Okay.
Like you don't have like a strong attack. There's not really like a lot of timing on it except for evading attacks.
Okay.
Yeah. You're there. There's no like watching for incoming. There's not really like a rhythm to it aside from, getting your animations and stuff out. That said, this system is going to sing the most in like these optional missions that I don't really want to do because your reward for doing them isn't more story or anything. It's better gear and materia for doing other optional stuff. And like, I just kind of want to see the story and get out. So I'm just I'm the wrong tree for the game's like mechanical hooks to come barking up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the story is like kind of fan service stuff. Like you're seeing, familiar faces, but it's a little bit before Final Fantasy VII actually happens. You're getting like backstory, but also they've got to make it, a big, larger than life kind of threat kind of deal. And it's like, man, if all this stuff is happening, why is nobody talking about it when the next game starts?
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is there any kind of anachronistic stuff in there where it's like, well, okay, that like these people hadn't met yet, but here they have an interaction or whatever?
Not that I can see. Nothing that I would like quibble with. Like, I'm not even like looking to ding it for continuity problems or anything. So I might be the wrong person to ask about that. But like, I'm fine that Zack meets a younger version of Yuffie, the like thief girl who takes all your materia, and she becomes like a side quest vector kind of deal. That's fine. And that's cute. This really does feel like a PSP game, and that might have been fine back then, but like you really see the limitations, and it makes, again, like the company that ported this or the company that upgraded it, Tosei, there was kind of no way for them to win with the scope of the project, because the scope of the project would have had to have been rethink this from the ground up, when this is just a kind of a visual pass on what the old game was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm about two-thirds of the way through it. I would like to see, because my understanding is like the last third of it gets fucking wild, like from a story perspective, and picks up and you see some really cool things. But it's very much in the like, I'm just kind of critical path Johnnying it, so I can get through it.
Is it better or worse than the Final Fantasy VII Power Wash Simulator?
Worse. It is definitely less lovable than the Final Fantasy VII Power Wash Simulator, primarily because that protagonist is silent, whereas Zack, like I said, is just perfectly smooth-brained. Just a marble inside his noggin that is just rolling around enthusiastically.
The wrong kind of egghead.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. Kind of a bummer. I was hoping to find more to like here. And there's like a system, like people will say like, what about the slot machine? Like there is a slot machine going on during battle that as you do stuff in the story, different symbols are unlocked for it. And when they match up, they will like bring certain conditions. You're never counting on that stuff firing at a particular time, so it's always a bonus. So it doesn't bother me as much as it does for other people. Like that is the system that is right out front as being the thing that makes this different. Like, oh, this is Crisis Core. It's got the slot machine that occasionally will unlock a limit break or will make it so that spells don't cost MP. Like it's all just bonus.
Is there like a justification for it? Did he like... Is this some sort of RoboCop thing where he's half slot machine, or
no? It's just they needed a gimmick. it's designer mechanic over everything else kind of stuff.
But David, talk to me after the podcast, and we'll workshop that for a movie pitch.
half cop, half slot machine, all robbing
has
the
to take
poor.
place in Vegas instead of Detroit.
Oh man. Any questions about Crisis Core?
Not off the top of my head.
All right.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and you answer it. Dennis, what is the question that you asked the nice people?
Yeah, this was inspired by what's going to wind up being my end boss, but Sony has a really crazy controller out there, shape-shifting, temperature changing, so I take it as everything is on the table, right? So, what innovation would you make standard in the next generation of controllers, and how would you want to see it used?
Yeah. So I will get started here with Callum, who says, if we're going way out, ignore physics, never running out of charge.
Yeah, I could appreciate that.
Agreed. Yeah, you would have to get rid of some features like Rumble, or even, plugging your headset in or whatever. But like the switches that I use for my smart lights, they don't have a battery in them. They're just charged up by the action of pressing them.
Oh, yeah, piezoelectrics or something.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know how practical it is at the scale where you're pressing buttons over and over again, but hey, again, anything's possible in the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David, what does Peter say?
Peter says, well, this one's a stumper for me. Everything I've thought of has been done before. For example, a controller with a screen in the middle for in-game functions. But that's basically the Wii U tablet or the Nintendo Switch. Although, weirdest thing I was able to come up with, I want a controller that comes with a straw/liquid camelback hose. Basically, I want a controller that I can use without having to get up and go to the fridge when I want to grab a refreshment.
I can think of it equate, but you need more coverage. Because if that fluid's going to come in, it's got to go out. Yeah.
Oh boy. I'm just imagining like a VR headset, but with beer cans taped to either side.
Chug mug.
Oh, yeah. See, I was thinking like the still suit from Dune.
Oh no.
Ben, what does?
Also, I thought he was gonna go for with the screen in the middle, the visual memory units from the Dreamcast.
Love those things. Love a VMU.
Greg says, a quick return to the home screen of a console from anywhere in the game, like a modern reset button. It takes too long and too much hassle to quit out of most games these days and just get back to the main screen.
Yeah. Just a console equivalent of Alt F4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dennis, what does Alexander say?
Alexander says, we need a system level pause again. Yes, not having a software level pause in the Soulsborne games is part of the difficulty, but ultimately, if my body says I need to take a bio break, then I need to take a bio break. Game design be damned.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of a similar vein there.
I agree. Eli says, no more free hanging triggers. Tired of laying down my controller and having my character fire their gun, or worse, when I'm watching TV or a movie and I'm suddenly in fast forward / reverse. Yeah. Agreed. Little trigger guard would be nice.
Yeah, just putting the triggers, if you're going to have more than 2 triggers, make sure you can reach them all, would be my ask.
Oh yeah, so two triggers on the same side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's see here. I did Eli. David, what does Naveen say?
Naveen says, for all the flack that the Wii Remote and Joy-Cons get, it's so nice to have split controls to allow my hands to rest wherever. More split controllers so I don't have to hold my hands up and truly embrace my laziness.
You know what? This is going to be my answer. I love this. Like, I loved this in playing playing stuff on the Wii with the nunchuck, and I will still play games like this with the Joy-Cons, even even when I have the Pro controller at my disposal, just because it's more comfortable.
So they actually make split keyboards you can get for your computer, so that might be an option.
That's more of an ergonomic concern, and I've looked at those and stuff. It's just it's a matter of like functionality and what have you. But like this very specifically for like sitting in an armchair, like just to give a lot more flexibility for like sitting positions or for moving around and stuff. Not always needing to be hands together. I'm a big fan of the split controller life. And make it so like they can join together in the middle, magnetically or what have you. Mm-hmm. So if you want to have them together, you can. But yes, that is my answer for this.
See, I just would want them to like snap together like a Bloodborne trick weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So like halfway through a combo, you snap the controller together and it becomes some sort of like motion thing that you have to do whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Ben, what does Jack say?
Jack says, and it's funny because I'm reading this and it has Dennis's picture on it, so it's kind of throwing me. But Jack says, controllers that adapt to the genre of game I'm playing and understand my hand shape. Am I playing Dead Cells and trying to really get those precision button presses in? Really tighten around the hands and hold me in place to get a good game feel up to 100. Am I playing a deck builder with no sense of urgency? Make them buttons grow.
Yeah. Again, if we are beyond the realm of physically possible, we can make it happen. Mm-hmm. Dennis, what does Sam say?
Sam says, I'd be happy with easily replaceable batteries.
So much this.
I know.
So much this. Yeah, I've got nothing more to say than that.
See, I'm the inverse on that. My complaint is wireless controllers. Just never make those again.
Oh, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, I just I'd like the PlayStation 5. It feels like I'm always charging that thing. I like the Xbox One era where you could use AA or have like rechargeable battery pack. So like if it's an emergency and I need to get going, I can put some AA's in there and then charge it up later. Yeah. I don't know. David, what does Jacob say?
Jacob says, controllers with the grips are those weird squishy toys with the water that moves around them. I think they're called water snakes.
Yeah, those things are squishy and fun. Yeah. Why not? And Ben, what does Jeremy say?
Jeremy says a chair/couch that can shape depending upon the game you're playing, and if you're playing alone or with other people in the room. Perfect for your back and the family.
Yeah.
So one of my dreams is to build one of those racing rigs. So like the people that are really into racing simulations will have setups where, it's literally like a sports car seat and then, completely surrounded by screens and with a steering wheel, stuff like that. I want to do that not for racing, just to have like the most cyberpunk computer setup ever.
Oh, you've seen the Scorpion chairs, right?
I have not.
Yeah, I'll send you. They're ridiculous. Yeah.
This is badass. Yeah, this might be might be what I will soon have.
they're ridiculously costly. But yeah,
they are.
David's entering the Scorpion arc of his lifetime right now.
Chapter 2, Scorpion David. Oh man. Let's see here. I've already said mine. The split controller is a must. David, how about you? Scorpion chair aside.
So generally speaking, when it comes to like designs for controllers, my stance is stop.
Yeah.
I think I go with a keyboard that whenever someone tries to design motion controls at a game, it just shocks them.
Yeah. Just like if you fire up CAD and start pushing pixels around, then like it sends somebody to your house to intervene.
Yep. Although to completely contradict myself, I would really like they make I forget what they're called. Basically corded keyboards that are just kind of like effectively like a glove with buttons on it that you can, press, type out, all of the keyboards, all the keys on keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Like a haptic thing.
Yeah. Like I said, generally, I want my controls to be as simple as possible, unless they are cyberpunk as fuck, and then I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Because I am a hypocrite.
That's Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to steal from the book The Three Body Problem and say like a complete haptic suit for whatever game you're playing. I know that's possible, but I don't see it around, so...
There was apparently a bunch of that at what is it, the CES this year? Like
Okay.
there were several of them, and from the reports that I heard, they were all like either very underwhelming or very just let's say existentially troubling. Like just
I'm
trying
talking
to
about a cool one that.
Are you
talking about like where it's like you think you're actually dying when it's like a bullet hits you or something in game or whatever?
It's not even. It's not even that.
One of those.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like the ones that can hurt you or make you think that you're hurt. That I say are existentially troubling. It's just like this is going to replace. Like a hug from this feels just like a hug from somebody who's right there.
But now we can hug virtually, guys.
Yeah, no.
I know they make ones where if you get shot, it's got just a taser built in and just tases you. And that is amazing.
Close enough.
Now you've stolen what I want from my controller.
That's like a Friday at 5:00 decision. Like, just put a taser in instead.
Yeah,
like that's close enough. Let's do it.
Oh, they're used for like military training.
Oh yeah. So the haptic suits for you, Dennis.
Yeah, well, specifically the shock. This heating up controller or cooling controller, that's not enough for me anymore. I want to feel. I want to get raked over the coals.
I would just like hearing about like shape-shifting, heating up or cooling down. All I can picture is just holding a lump of Play-Doh.
Oh no.
That gets uncomfortably warm or like spookily chilly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I just want
spooky chilly.
I want the ultimate gaming peripheral, by which I mean I want my state to legalize edibles.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think and right there with you, bud. Yeah, well, good question. Brought the imagination out. A lot of people. Thanks for posting it, Dennis. And thank you for responding, everybody. If you would like to participate in the multiplayer in the future, go to Facebook and search for Duckfeed Community, join that group, and watch the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons. The End Boss. Now it is time for the End Boss, where we talk about things that are going on in the world of video games. I'm going to do mine here because this is both a thing is happening and a thing is not happening, which is
Schrodinger's End Boss.
Kind of. So the PC Gaming Show is going to be happening on June the 11th. This of the E3 events is always the one that produces the coolest stuff. It's mostly indie stuff, lots of cool ideas put forward. A lot of things that are like pretty close to release, much closer to release than what you see in the big ones. It's one to watch. June the 11th. I said it's an E3 event. I need to revise that because E3 is dead for now. Yeah. It got kind of dire there toward the end because every day there was a story so-and-so company pulls out of E3 to where I think it ultimately came down to no company was going to be showing anything at the E3 itself. They were all scheduling their own stuff. So the ESA, which I believe is the body that organizes it, just decided, no E3. There's literally nothing to show.
Was this just like a tragedy of the commons thing where for any given company it's in their best interest to do their own thing?
That is the sense that I've gotten from reading about it, which is like, why would we, even like, why would we do this big in-person thing when Nintendo has had the right idea all along with Nintendo Direct? When Sony has been finding success with, what is it, like Days of Play or whatever, I forget what their what their
everyone's going
announcement
to
things.
their own little thing.
Yeah, like their own Nintendo Direct, and like that's fine. That's cool. Like there doesn't need to be all this pageantry for a for a trailer, like a bunch of trailer reveals and stuff. Like yeah, just like have these little events. Maybe we'll hit a wall where that's not really possible. But as long as you've got stuff like the PC gaming show and like smaller collectives like the HANA PS1 kind of folks putting together like their own kind of like higher profile things that smaller developers can get in on, like hell yeah, like go for it. Everybody that I've talked to who has gone to E3 has said, oh yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. Like it's just nothing but lines and drinking and then lines and drinking and then lines and drinking.
It's like South by Southwest.
Yeah.
I still though feel kind of bad that it's an institution.
Yeah. The conclusion that I came to was like there's a version of E3 in my head that specifically I could not go to because it was 2004 and I was a sophomore in high school. And like that's when I wanted to go. Now probably was never that great. And so, yeah. And when I say it like that, it sounds like sour grapes, which it absolutely is not. But it's important to recognize when you've got something kind of romanticized or idolized. But yeah.
Do you love E3 or do you love the idea of E3?
Yes. Yeah. So bunch of stuff, big announcements coming in June, and maybe those will unbunch in a while and we're going to, stop having like the May droughts or what have you. But PC gaming show, June 11th should be good. Let's see. Dennis, roll right in from the multiplayer on there with this controller thing.
So this was inspired by a patent that Sony filed. And keep in mind that patents are kind of, it can be out there crazy stuff that has no intent of ever being actually created. They just want to be able to say like, hey, I had the idea written down somewhere, so can't sue me or something like that.
Right. Or I can sue you.
We're going to sue you.
So I can sue you. So the idea had two major pieces. It looks like a PlayStation controller. But the first idea is that it would be able to change temperature. The example being given of, as you walk through the snow in God of War, you would feel that snow. And then the second example, I guess there's three here. So the second thing was that it would be deformable. That like the controller would change shape as you played, which is a crazy weird idea.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is that it would be detachable. So it would like have pieces on the sides of it that would like snap off. I don't know how else to say it. And they could be reattached for whatever purpose. And the drawings are very rudimentary.
Super general. Yeah.
Yeah, super general. But all three of those things are just crazy and out there and fun to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So is this just like a patent troll thing where it's like we'll patent so that we can keep someone from, doing it 30 years from now? Or
yeah, I think something like that. We'll patent it so that no one can say they thought of it first.
Yeah. The idea of it changing temperatures. Do you remember back like in the PlayStation 2 Xbox era, the Nyko Airflow controllers?
Oh yeah.
The idea being like, oh, people's hands get sweaty when they're playing games. Mm-hmm. So we're going to make this kind of a hollow controller that has fans inside of it that provides a gentle breeze to dry off your hands while you're playing it.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped taking those in at GameStop because not a single one of them came in smelling like anything but death. They were just vile pieces of machinery. A very unflattering portrait of people's kind of olfactory landscape.
Are you playing this with your armpit? I don't understand.
Yeah, no. You should probably see a doctor about that. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, seems pretty early, and also some of this I don't think sounds like a great idea. Like a deformable controller sounds uncomfortable to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see, Ben, what's happening in tabletop games?
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about board games at the end of the podcast, not at the beginning of the podcast. Hey, it was on Polygon, right? So it has to count.
There's a lot of stuff on Polygon that I just kind of skip over.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly about movies and TV shows that I'm never going to see. But
so something I didn't know existed until today was the American Tabletop Awards, which is, I guess, our answer to Spiel des Jahres from Germany. So it's been around for at least, I don't know, like past 5 years or so, giving out awards for board games for the year. And they have them in 4 different categories based on how complex the game is. And so it's like first category, literally for kids, and then casual, strategies like mid-level, and then complex for like the highest ones. Yeah. And so the news I gleaned from this is Carnegie won the best board game for complex games, which is a game I played, so I'm familiar with it. It beat out Ark Nova, which is the darling that's like number 2 on Board Game Geek right now. So I'm sure there were some angry people somewhere about that, maybe.
Yeah. Passions run hot.
The best strategy game of the year, according to ATA, is called Planet Unknown, which I have not played and I'm not familiar with. And so I'm going to check that out.
Did you say Planet Oh No?
I did not. That could be maybe the sequel, but this one's called Planet Unknown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know that was a thing. Now I know it's a thing. They were right, at least I think last year they gave it to Rune's Lost Arnak, and that's a good game. So I give a thumbs up to that. But
what is Carnegie?
Carnegie's pretty interesting. It does have a unique mechanic. It's so it's 4 players. It has like a map of the US on it. In a sense, it's similar to Power Grid, if anyone's played that, where you're kind of like building like houses across the country and trying to connect them for victory points at the end of the game. One of the main differences, the main mechanic of the game, is on a person's turn, they pick what action everybody is going to do. And so you have to try and figure out like what action is best for each person to do and really like average out your strategy so that you could do any action and still be able to successfully do it. And so there's this like, it has this really unique feeling of this like competition against one another, but like having to like appease to other people and what they're doing sort of thing. Yeah. So that part's really cool. That's like one of the coolest parts of the game. However, there's you have a token that you can flip over once per game. You can do a completely different action than what the person says. Okay. And so then you can do these like kind of slam dunk strategies where it's like they say construction of a building. I'm going to do this instead to make Mike and then I'm going to choose construction on my next turn, and I'm going to have an even better construction action than you're doing right now, and then that's going to be a useless action for everybody else. So you can do like stuff like that. So the spirit of Carnegie is alive and well in that game of hurting other people,
fucking people over. Yeah. I'm looking at the website for the publisher, I guess, and like the one big image that they have shows 4 people playing it, but each of them has an identical glass of water, and I was hoping the glass of water factored in to the mechanic somehow. Yeah.
Well, not directly for sure.
I think they're just trying to stay hydrated. Oh God, nice.
It's on Board Game Arena too. Carnegie is, so for people who have that, let it be known.
Cool. Well, sorry. David, what you got?
I've got nothing.
Attaboy.
It's been a week.
Yeah, I understand.
Me too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that sounds like a show to me. How do you all feel about buttoning up?
Buttons.
Thank you so much for listening to level number 453. Without fail, Greta has sensed that the show is about to end, and she is giving me some ankle time. It's just my cat, by the way. That's just somebody just tuning in would think that's just a lady who's brushing up against my ankles.
That would be weird.
Yeah, that'd be very strange. Yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks again for understanding being out last week. Should be here for a while. If you want to help us out, you know the things you can do. Subscribe, rate or review, join the Duckfeed community on Facebook, back the Patreon. All of it is good stuff that helps. I'm trying to think of other like admin things. I am going to be at the there's a gaming convention. It's a retro gaming convention in Columbus, Ohio. Sorry, I'm searching now. I'm going to be at CorgsCon coming up in Columbus at the Ohio Expo Center on the it's Saturday, May the 13th. I'm not doing any like speaking or anything. I don't have a table, but if you see me around, please do not be shy.
Are you bringing your car? Asking for a friend.
Asking for this 12-year-old I know. I mean, maybe. I hope I have my car back by then. I hope I have a wheel lock by then. But yeah, I want to get out to more get out to more of these events. There's another one that I want to do coming up a little bit later in the year. But yeah, May the 13th. That's a Saturday. CorgsCon. Yeah. Anything I'm forgetting?
Don't think so.
All right. Well, I have been Kole Ross. You can find me when I stream at Duckfeed.tv on Twitch.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me probably going back to the Mario movie at some point.
With or
for the
without
kids,
your
not for me. For the kids.
Yeah.
I've been David Mysmith. You can find me at MoneySmith777 on Twitter.
And I've been Ben Merkel, and you can find me at Merkleby on Instagram.
Diversifying. And stick around for some titles. Okay. I have one, just from the end. Spooky Chili. All right.
Along with some spooky chili.
Dennis, what you got?
I have a couple. I have Pay It Further. I know this can't be it, but I really like it. I have Paladin Mike versus Shitty Carl. And then I have Heisenberg Tilt-A-Whirl.
All right. You got anything, David?
I have one. I have Forcibly Rideshare.
Nice.
Okay. Ben, what you got?
I got nothing. But if it's Pay It Further, I request that we have Haley Joel Osment dying as the picture for the podcast.
I don't know if I can make it that, but Pay It Further was going to be the one that I suggested.
Fair.
Stumped for.
Yeah, stumped for. Let's say. Is anybody opposed?
Cool with that.
Okay. So I don't think we can make it the picture, but pay it further. Is it? Are we agreed?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. It is decided.